Landman. Season 2, Episode 10 doesn't just end the season, but it quietly breaks it. This finale doesn't rely on explosions or shock twists to hurt you. It hurts because it feels earned. Because it takes a man who did everything right, who tried to protect everyone, and shows us exactly how that still isn't enough. Tommy didn't deserve what happened to him, and by the end of this episode, it's impossible not to feel that weight settle in your chest. This isn't a victory finale, it's a reckoning. The finale opens with the consequences already in motion, and that choice matters. There's no build-up anymore, no warning signs, no space left to negotiate. Tommy is already fired. The offshore project is already moving forward without him. The people who needed his caution most have already decided they don't want it. And the silence around him says more than any argument ever could. For years, Tommy was the backbone of Mtex, the man who knew when to push forward and when to pull back. Not because he was afraid of risk, but because he understood cost. He understood bodies, families, fallout. But in this world, experience doesn't beat ambition, caution doesn't beat greed, and conscience doesn't beat power. What makes this episode hit so hard is how small Tommy's loss feels on the surface and how massive it truly is underneath. There's no public firing, no dramatic shouting match, no chance for him to defend himself. Cammy's decision from the previous episode has already sealed his fate, and now Tommy has to live inside that reality. His job wasn't just a title, it was the structure holding his entire life together. It paid for Angela's comfort, Annesley's future, Cooper's place in the company, and the illusion that everything was stable. Once that job disappears, so does the safety net that protected all of them. When Tommy finally tells his father, it becomes painfully clear how alone he truly is. His father listens. He supports him. But support doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't replace power or money or influence. It just reminds Tommy that someone still sees him as a good man in a system that no longer values that. And that makes the next step even harder. Because telling Angela isn't just about losing a job. It's about admitting failure in a marriage built on security, image, and control. Angela's reaction is exactly what we've come to expect, and somehow it still hurts. She spirals immediately, not because she loves Tommy less, but because she cannot exist inside discomfort. When things get heavy, Angela doesn't fight. She escapes. She did it with Annesley's college situation. She did it when reality clashed with her expectations. And now she does it again. Instead of standing beside Tommy, instead of facing the chaos together, she chooses distance. She chooses her daughter. She chooses denial. And in doing so, she leaves Tommy emotionally stranded at the worst possible moment of his life. At the same time, the Cooper situation looms like a storm cloud that refuses to move. The attack on Ariana wasn't just a violent moment. It was a fracture that split everything open. Cooper didn't act like a hero. He acted like a man whose fear, rage, and trauma finally collided, and the show refuses to clean that up for us. Johnny deserved to be stopped, but what Cooper did went beyond stopping him. It crossed a line that can't simply be erased, especially not now, especially not without Tommy's protection. The camera footage exists, the police are involved, Barney has already made the call, and for the first time, money doesn't feel like a solution. Influence doesn't feel guaranteed. With Tommy out and Cammy unpredictable, the old ways of fixing problems no longer apply. That's what makes this finale feel so heavy. There are no shortcuts left. Every decision now carries real consequences. And just when Tommy thinks the damage is contained, the call comes in. Cooper is facing charges. Ariana has been warned. And the weight shifts again. Rebecca steps back into the story not as a romantic figure, but as a professional force. She is the one person capable of handling what's coming, and Tommy knows it. Trusting her with Cooper's future is the only choice he has left. It's also the moment where Tommy finally stops trying to save everyone at once and starts choosing which fires he can realistically put out. But relief doesn't last long in Landman, because while Tommy is focused on holding his family together, another threat is already moving toward him. Galliano doesn't see Tommy as a fired executive. He sees him as an investment. A man who knew the risks, who tried to stop the bleeding, and who now owes him. And Galliano makes one thing terrifyingly clear. Tommy doesn't get to walk away. Not now, not after the money is on the line, not after proving that his instincts were right. Galliano's threat isn't loud, but it's brutal. If Tommy fails, the cost won't be financial, it will be personal. And when a man like Galliano talks about taking what you love most, he doesn't mean metaphorically. He means Angela. He means Anansley. He means family. Suddenly, being fired doesn't feel like the worst thing that's happened to Tommy. It feels like the beginning of something far darker. By the end of this section of the finale, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Tommy is no longer in control of his life. The system he tried to protect has rejected him. The family he built is pulling away. As the finale moves forward, the pressure on Tommy doesn't ease, it tightens. Now that Galliano has made his position clear, Tommy is trapped in a space far more dangerous than unemployment. He is caught between a company that no longer wants his caution and an investor who demands results at any cost. Going back to Mtex isn't framed as a return or a redemption. It's framed as a leash. Tommy isn't being welcomed back because he's valued. He's being forced back because he knows too much, because his foresight has already proven correct, and because men like Galliano don't tolerate losses quietly. The cruel irony is that the very instincts that got Tommy fired are now the reason he's indispensable again, but without authority, without protection, and without the moral high ground he once stood on. Inside Mtex, the shift in power is obvious the moment Tommy steps back into that world. The atmosphere has changed. Cammy isn't interested in collaboration or restraint. Her vision for the company is louder, faster, and far more reckless. Where Tommy once slowed things down to prevent disaster, Cammy accelerates everything in the name of profit and legacy. She wants wildcatting. She wants risk. She wants to chase the kind of explosive success that made Monty rich, ignoring the reality that those same risks leave bodies behind. Tommy sees the danger clearly, but now his warnings carry no weight. He's there to execute, not to decide. And that loss of control is suffocating. While Tommy is being pulled back into the very system that discarded him, Cooper's situation begins to spiral in parallel. The legal consequences of the alley incident no longer feel theoretical. They're real, immediate, and unavoidable. Johnny's crimes are undeniable, but the footage doesn't lie about Cooper's violence either. What makes this storyline so painful is that Cooper isn't portrayed as a villain or a savior. He's portrayed as a young man who reached his breaking point